band with just one dude, no reason to fret. I may pretend rock star, it's Nate's one-man duet. Yeah.
Hey Nomads, thank you so much for checking out this video. This is the newest in the Listen and React, and today we're listening to this song called Afterlife by Avenged Sevenfold. So this is perhaps a little bit harder than some other things that may have been on my channel, but I love this song. It's pretty cool, and it's got a lot of complexity, a lot of things to talk about. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So I think it's so interesting that this song that's going to get super heavy and super crazy starts with like a chamber orchestra, a string quartet. Classical music is not really my forte, so I don't even know necessarily what to call it. But I imagine it's probably a cello, a viola, or violin that's playing this opening, and it's kind of morose in a way. There's a sense of foreboding. It's beautiful, but it's also kind of ominous. Just an interesting way to start a heavy metal song. All right, so already a lot to dissect and get into. So, right as it's coming out of that chamber orchestra intro, you hear a cymbal swell, and that again kind of denotes, hey, something's about to happen. And then it kicks into this pretty awesome thing. Now, one thing that was going on there that I think is super cool was a lead line that is played in two parts. It's a harmonized lead line. This is a fairly common trick or feature that's used in heavy metal, and I love it so much. I've only really ever played one song that has that. My 90s cover band does the 311 song Beautiful Disaster, and it starts and in the middle of the song has a lead, a harmonized lead line, and I love playing it. It's such a cool sound and thing to happen. So so yeah, that harmonized lead is going, and the drums are doing a pretty kind of like standard, like heavy metal, probably heavy on like a double bass pedal, where you get like the real driving sound. And I paused it right as it's about to take, I think this is where the lyrics start perhaps, but you'll notice this song does a bunch of different like changes with riff, with feel, with not with tempo, but with like intensity of the music. Is so cool. It's really creative. So this is move number 3 that's about to happen.
Like walking into a dream, someone like what you've seen.
It was really weird where I paused that because it almost sounded like it was its own thing. You didn't get any sense for that transition that happened, but it is, So the bass player has got a really cool tone. If you're not listening to this under headphones, I recommend that you do, because if you're trying to listen through your device speaker, you're not going to hear that part of the song. He's really rocking out, and there will be a few times where that's going to be featured fairly prominently. I just love that. Like, it's a very busy diddle-ear, bom, 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 riff that they do here. And then the fact that they work in some vocals over that is pretty incredible.
God's been waiting for you, rolling into this place.
right. So the pacing of the vocals is really interesting here. As I've said, there's this riff that's doing this real like push and pull. Like sometimes it's doing like diddle diddle dow dow dow. So again, it goes real fast and then it kind of slows and hits these kind of syncopated things. And then you contrast that with the vocals. I guess not contrast it. It kind of mirrors it where it's going like, falling into this place, just giving you a small taste. Right. It's like this rapid and then the slow down. So it all kind of gives this little like push and pull kind of rhythmic thing. It's really neat. I like this song a lot. So it's about to transition again. Pretty big rhythmic change that's about to happen.
I see a distant light, but girl, this can't be right.
Yeah, so this is, I would say, this is like some sort of a pre-chorus because it's not the chorus that you'll know. This song has a really awesome chorus. But here's where that bass is really rocking out. If you've got headphones on, it's such a cool riff. And it's like, I think it might just be bass and drum that kind of go through, and then the guitar kind of stops, and then we'll kind of little syncopated hits. This is really just a cool kind of juxtaposition of things.
Such a surreal place to see. So how did this come to be? Right to Wally. And when I think of all the places I just don't belong, I've come to grips with life and realize this is no.
So that's still part of the pre-chorus, although it clearly has it was very driven on the snare drum, and the vocals changed, as did the rhythm of the guitar and such. But yeah, it's still not that chorus that we're going to get there, I promise. So this is like part B of the pre-chorus still is pretty interesting.
I don't belong here, we gotta move on here. Escape from this afterlife, 'cause this time I'm right to move on and on. Far away from here. Place a boat with no rain, perfect skies with no rain.
So that was the chorus that I was talking about, right? It's so good. It's got this kind of like soaring vocal. It's eminently singable, right? It's a sing-along for the kids, right? Yeah, but then it's interesting. After an epic chorus like that, I often expect that there's going to be a brief like musical interlude to then transition back to the next verse. But interestingly, they just kind of stop, and there's a brief moment of silence, and it's right back into the next verse, which hits really hard. That's actually a really effective transition in and of itself, in a non-transition way.
This place where we're free, 'cause we've been waiting for you. Falling into this place, just giving you a small taste of your afterlife here, so stay. You'll be back here soon anyway. This peace on earth's not right.
Baseline again.
No pain, no sign of time. I'm like you're young before, so out of place, don't wanna stay. I feel wrong.
So that's interesting. There was this kind of call and answer thing happening there. You know, I don't know much about this band, admittedly, so I don't know if they have multiple singers in the band, or if that's, you know, sometimes with a song like this is all just kind of production stuff. You know, their lead vocalist will do all of these different parts, and then the producer or whoever's doing like the sound mixing will go in and use a different effect and different microphone settings to give that kind of different, like, you know, main vocal and answer vocal, and it kind of bounces back and forth. It's a really cool effect. I'd be interested to see how they do that live. because that's often the trick. If it's just, studio magic, it's hard to reproduce live unless you just do like pre-recorded stuff.
That's my sign. I made up my mind. Gave me your hand, but realize I just wanna say goodbye. Please understand I have to leave and carry on my own life. I don't belong here. Gotta move on here. Escape from this afterlife. 'Cause this time I'm right to move on and on. Far away from here. Got nothing against you, and surely I'll make.
So this guy is really good at that kind of like screaming vocal, I think, some of the best. There's been a lot of people who have been really great at that. But to me, my mind always goes to Chester from Linkin Park. I mean, that guy could scream in a way that you felt it, So this song will have some crazy kind of scream parts. We're going to get to that, a little foreshadowing.
This place for all peace and light, and I know you're right. Take me back inside when the time is right.
So it's really interesting here. This is like, the lead, where typically this would be a guitar solo, and yet they go to that chamber orchestra, and it's it's haunting in a way. There's something about the way that those musicians are playing that part that's like, wow, it's a vibe, as my kids would say. So let's listen some more. So we've talked about pre-chorus, A and B, chorus, verse. This is a bridge. Yes, but it was interesting. It was kind of after did the chorus, then that musical interlude, and then transition to the bridge, which is really neat. Let's
I pray by the grace of God that there's somebody listening. Give me a chance to be that person I want to be. Hey, bro, I'll try so hard, but you gotta let go.
Wow, that was really interesting. So that's, earlier we were talking about how many vocalists does this band have. So yeah, someone was doing, singing the lead line there. But you got, no, where was it? Oh Lord, I'll try so hard. And then there was that screaming part that was kind of answering back within it. Again, hard to tell if that's studio magic and the lead singer's just kind of screaming and they're multi-tracking, or if that's a call and answer. Well, not even really a call and answer, because they kind of were on top of each other. So yeah, it was kind of an interesting arrangement. Screaming. Okay, so interesting. So that guitar, now here we're in a traditional guitar solo, right? And pretty typical, like heavy metal, real fast, like noodling, really awesome guitar work. So they did a little bit of that, and then it went into another one of those harmonized leads, and that's where we stopped. So when I start it back up again, you're going to hear that again. Two guitars, probably two guitars. I mean, you can do it with an effect pedal, but typically this is done with two guitars. So. noodling. So again, I earlier said I don't know much about this band. I'm now curious to see if they have 2 lead guitar players, because there was a little bit of interesting call and answer. One option is just, again, that this was studio magic, right? That the guitarist recorded multiple tracks, but it was a and it had a different enough tone that they were not the same guitar recorded at the same time. I have a very strong suspicion. I would be shocked if it was. So it's interesting to know if this is 2 guitar players kind of answering back and forth, like dueling guitar solos, which would be pretty awesome. Or was this just kind of a multi-layered studio performance? So interesting. And it's building and building with intensity, right? I think the drums are getting more and more kind of chaotic and stuff. So it's really kind of building, and you're going to hear what they're building to. It gets really, really wild, and we'll talk more about that. So I got a little carried away doing air drumming. So yeah, I love that. But it was interesting because there was also a lot of like this like screaming, laughing, maniacal person kind of going crazy, somewhat in the background, but it's about to be in the foreground in ways that you're going to hear. So I'm actually want to talk about this before you hear it, so that you can kind of be on the ear out for it, because you're not on the lookout, you're on the listen out. You can be on the listen out for this. So it's gonna build, that laugh's gonna kind of carry, and then you're gonna feel that transition coming back into the chorus. And they do a really neat trick where, so if you hit a guitar chord and just let it ring out, it's gonna what's called decay, or decrease in volume. So it'll go like I was tempted to move the pitch. It won't move the pitch, it just moves the volume. I can't do it because I'm going to move the pitch down. Anyway, so you'll hear this. What they do is they record a chord being hit with that decay, then they reverse it and they play it backwards. So instead of it going here, it goes oh, right, and gets louder. And they do it in like a split second, and so it's going to like that part comes in real hard when it then comes to the chorus. So listen to it. It's I always recognize it. I love that effect, but listen, see if you can hear it. Did you hear it? Did it blow your socks off? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I love, they do a couple of the right, the guitar player's kind of like noodling out, and again, you just kind of feel that tension. It's like you almost see the train coming, you know it's about to hit you, and then that chorus comes in.
Cause this time I'm ready to move on and on, far away from here. Got nothing against you, truly I miss you. This place full of peace in my eye, and I hold you right. Take me back inside when the time is right.
Good stuff. I always think it's funny those outros when they hit a big chord like that. With the amount of distortion that's on those guitars might still be ringing to this day. You're just it's gonna devolve into just a bunch of feedback, which is fun. But yeah, it can just kind of go on indefinitely. Those guitars might still be ringing. So that's Listen and React to Avenged Sevenfold and their awesome song, Afterlife. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please do check out my other social media sites, all the crazy zany stuff that's going on there. It's always helpful if you guys want to throw me a like, a comment, a share. Also, please do subscribe to my channel. I do lots of different covers and listen and reacts and blind karaoke and, all kinds of stuff. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an excellent rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.